Hello again, folks. I'm just out walking my dog again. Here he is, Gizmo. Hey, yeah, go on. So I started yesterday talking about why I wanted to do this channel again, or redo this channel again, I should say, because I started this channel a long time ago, whilst I was still at the service, during lockdown as well, to try and help people get into road cycling. Just little how-to videos. Clearly you can tell I'm not very good at it. I'm still learning to do that sort of stuff, but I was sticking my neck out, basically, trying to do some good. Anyway, still got a lot to learn, don't get me wrong, but now I want to take it away from that kind of little niche, as it were, that niche sport, and start focusing on anybody and everybody, specifically people's personal resilience and how you can develop it, because I absolutely believe that it is not a character trait. Okay, it's not a person's ability to stay strong in the face of adversity. It's a person's ability to absorb challenges into their normal routine and continue on in reasonable comfort. Okay, now that is obviously very much dependent on the scale of the challenge. Of course it is. Reality is, it's not as simple as writing it down on a page. Reality is very different. It can take time. But we'll get to how we can deal with that. The key, really, first and foremost, is to recognise, in my opinion, the difference between responsibility and accountability. Now, it is a whole other subject I'm not going to get into on this video, but the key difference really is that you can delegate responsibility. Yeah, accountability is where the buck stops, though. Okay, so what I mean by that is, if I take the analogy that I used yesterday, the car, right? Now, you can, in terms of ensuring that you've maintained a comfortable ride, yeah, you can have confidence in your vehicle that it will get from A to B, that it's not at risk of breaking down or something falling off and so on and so forth. You can take it away to get it serviced, give it to a mechanic, pay them for that servicing, repairs and so on and so forth. Okay, you're delegating that responsibility to them. You're paying them for it, granted, but ultimately you have to put a level of trust that they're doing a good job. If that car breaks down, however, irrelevant of where you took it, you're the one that's still got to deal with it. Yeah, the accountability for that car still sits with you. Okay, so realistically, you could go and learn to make the parts, learn to fit the parts, but that will require equipment, it requires tools, it requires time, and time's finite. We only have so much of it, so we have to delegate some things, we have to delegate some responsibilities. But in order to be a resilient individual, you have got to first accept that you need to be accountable for an array of different things. You can't just ignore them, okay? We're talking mundane things, day-to-day things that you need to keep on top of. Like the car, you have to keep on top of the insurance, you have to keep on top of the maintenance, whether you delegate to somebody or you do it yourself. If you don't, it will start to fall downhill quickly if it goes wrong, yeah? And again, accountability, if it breaks down on the side of the road, it will come down to you. So, what do I think are the next key things in order to be a more resilient person? Well, that's the first thing, the most important thing, absolutely critical thing, is perception. When a challenge hits, and this is what we're talking about here, is when your ability to absorb a challenge into your normal routine. So when a challenge hits, your perception of that challenge will determine your direction you go with it. By that, what I mean is, if we take one of those good old-fashioned experiments where, someone tells you to look around you and you look for anything blue, and then they ask you, what did you see that was red? Well, I'm wearing lots of it right now, and there's a little blue thing in the back, but the point of that is realistically, most people in an audience would not see anything red because they're looking for stuff that are blue, right? Their perception is on the blue stuff. That's where their focus is being drawn. That's what they're being asked to do. So the idea of seeing other things is just not planted in their heads. Now you switch that up and you change it for look around the room and tell me everything that's wrong with the room. Well, how many people would then respond and say what's good with the room when asked? So your perception of that event, that challenge, will determine the direction you go with it, okay? So perception is absolutely critical. The second thing is humility, okay? You have to accept that this challenge has happened. It could have happened. It might have been a mistake you've made. It might have been a mistake someone else made. It might be something completely out of your control, and there's nothing you can do to stop that challenge from happening. Okay, that issue, that problem, whatever you want to call it. And it can be quite humbling depending on the scale of that challenge. The idea that you have to acknowledge you're not good enough to deal with it. It might be that you need to go and learn something new. Google could be your friend in this respect. Or it might be that you've got to reach out to somebody and say, hey, look, I'm struggling, I need some help. But humility will help you take that next step. So where perception determines which step you're going to take, humility helps you make it. And then the steps you take will come down to consistent investment. That's the third thing. Consistent investment of what I believe are the three main currencies, which are time, energy, and focus. Time is finite. You have to... Gizmo, safe. Here he is. Down. Good boy. Go. There we go. Direction change. Anyway, where was I? Sorry. Right. So the core currencies. So time is finite. You only have so much of it. Okay. So use it wisely. Energy, again, you only have so much of it in a day. It's determined by how much you eat and what you've got your body storing, amongst other few other factors as well. So use that energy to do things that you will add value to your life. Yeah, whether it's spending time with loved ones, whether it's doing personal development in subjects you want to learn about, whether it's doing your job, earning the money to keep the lights on and the roof above your head, food in your belly, and all that jazz. And the third thing is focus. What you focus your energy and your time on, okay? So this is where, and I use the word investment deliberately because I think people use that word wrong as well. The first thing that comes to mind when you talk about investment is finance, business, stocks and shares, blah, blah, blah. And in reality, money, in my humble opinion, is a byproduct. Performance is a byproduct. All dependent on how you invest your time, energy, and focus. And let's be clear, it is consistent investment of time. Consistent investment of energy and focus over time. Okay? With those three things, that will enable you to work your way through and become a more resilient person. Okay? It doesn't matter how strong you are. It doesn't matter how clever you are. It doesn't matter the connections and all this kind of other stuff that you have. The downside, yes, they can have benefits. Not going to deny that, of course it will. But the reality is, with those three things, I think, are absolutely fundamental to someone who wants to be more resilient. So, yeah, that's where I should start. That's what I would think. That's what I think makes a resilient person. Someone who has the ability to see the silver lining, the ability to see opportunities in the downsides, the pros and the cons. Someone who is humble enough to acknowledge that they're not perfect, that they do make mistakes, that they can learn from them and they can move forward from things. Okay? And it might mean that they need to acknowledge they have to go and get help from somebody else or something else, Google, for example. And consistent investment. Being resilient requires consistency, regular consistent investment. The reality is it's not a one-off fix, okay? That idea of bouncing back is absolute bullshit. That's not resilience at all. So my strongest top tip is have a think about those three traits, those three things: perception, humility, and a consistent investment. And think about how you could apply those into the day-to-day stuff going on in your life. And tomorrow, I'll maybe try and start talking about how we can then build on that further. Okay? Anyway, give us a follow, give us a like. Or if you don't like this, you think there's something up with it, you think there's something I need to do better, or a subject I should be covering, let me know. Thanks for your time. Have a good day, guys.